Welcome, Freyiia Milleh. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I have been following you a bit on the side since 2019, 2020. So I have a feeling that I know you quite well.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have been having this channel, Danish channel,
Mhm.
but directly translated, it will be Inner Truth. And you've been sharing on your YouTube channel for quite some years now. And now you have this community, online community with a lot of people in there. And I used to say, like, okay, all Danish women in my age and older, they know who you are. They know
Yeah.
who you are, especially if they're a bit spiritual. They know who you are. So yeah, you're quite famous, especially for the women in Denmark. And yeah, so I'm very honored to have you here and that you wanted to have this talk with me about the divine feminine. That's going to be the topic that we will dive into today.
Yeah.
Yes, and what I find so beautiful listening to your updates and your online sharing is that I always feel such a deep resonance inside of me. It's like almost like, well, you're just putting words on exactly what I feel or exactly what I have tapped into. So I feel really connected to you, even though that you don't know me. Then I feel this strong connection because, yeah, there is this deep resonance inside of me when I'm listening to you. So thank you so much for stepping forward and share that truth that I really deeply aligning and connecting and resonating with. So welcome to the space, and I'm so excited for this talk. And I wanna bring the talking stick to you, and for you to put some words on who you are and the work that you are offering to the world.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just get a little touched here by listening to how you put words on who I am. So thank you for inviting me to this talk. It's an honor to be here. And as I just told you, it's maybe I'm a bit famous to use that word in Denmark, but it's new to me to step out of the Danish little box and start to do it in English. So thank you for giving me that opportunity also. And yeah, as I just said to you before, I actually have a very hard time expressing short who I am and what I do because I don't really know it. I just am, and I just chatter. That's how I usually say it. And I know that that's not what I do, but it feels to me very. It's not, I'm not trying to do anything actually, and I never had like a dream of becoming who I am becoming. It just happened. And what happened in the world in 2019 and 2020, where you also started listening to me, that was kind of like a cue to my soul that, okay, now it's your turn. Get on that stage, start talking. And I was like, whoa. And I just started sharing, my truth, my thoughts, my reflections, what I was seeing, observing, being a witness to in the world, and everything just accelerated from there, actually. And yes, now I have this huge Danish online community and a lot of people, and it's all around me, and I do what I do online, but it's also now circles like people coming to me in women's circles or deep retreats, shamanic breathwork. I do a lot of different work. All of it is about diving into the deep subconscious and finding out who we are, and it's an awakening process. And yeah, and it's interesting when you say that you feel that you resonate so deeply, and that I speak into exactly what you need to hear. Because if you knew how many women, or also men now, but how many people write exactly those words to me, how can you say exactly what I needed to hear today? And, you know, when hundreds are like responding in that way, I'm like, yeah, how can I? You know, it's like I'm tapped into some kind of a channel that we are all tapped into. And it's not me. It's just, I often feel like I'm just pulling it down from some kind of a whip and translating it so everybody can hear it. Actually, that's maybe the most humble way I can say it. Yes. So thank you so much for inviting me for this talk about the divine feminine, because she is rising within me also, like really. She's really fierce right now, and it's exciting to open up to a chat about that and her and what it is, you know.
Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. I really loved what you shared about you just tapping into the web and then you just, you know, bringing down that information. And yeah, it's very much the way I work as well, to tap into something and then it's kind of that information that's just coming through. And I think that's a very humble thing to do. And for me, it's linking a lot into the divine feminine, to being that channel and that portal of an energy that wants to be birthed through us and wants to be speaked through us. And I see really that the divine feminine is that channel, this channel of life. And literally how I feel this energy coming through is like it's life. And it's life that I'm sharing, and it's life that I have to give some words to, and I have to give that outlet of that energy. And if I'm not doing that, I become really sick inside of my body, and it feels like it's almost eating me up from the inside if I'm not allowing it to have a channel outwards, and if I'm not allowing it to come through me. And sometimes it feels like it's messages that wants to come through to a brighter range of people, and sometimes it's really something that is deeply from me in my process that I am in right now, which is also serving the collective, but I have to go through it as a deep initiation. And it feels so much that it's coming from that divine feminine place. It's coming from that place of being initiated into these the words are just coming through, just chambers, these sacred chambers, but also within myself. I need to go through these processes, and I feel I'm in one of them right now, and it's super intense and super hard, but I need to go through it on my own. You know, there is no other human being that can be there with me. I cannot hold on to any human being. I need to go through this initiation on my own. And that feels really scary. And I feel it's because I'm still learning to know that force inside of myself, and when this force comes through me, and how to not cling to that. My ego wants to know the outcome. My ego wants to know, oh, but this is my plan. I want to go this way. And then it feels like this force is coming through me and wants to guide me in another direction. And how to trust that, how to go with that. It's challenging.
It is.
What is your own experiencing with being guided by that feminine energy?
Actually, I think that I'm reaching a point now that I have heard myself say a few times lately that I don't even feel guided anymore. I feel led. I feel like this stream of energy, because okay, maybe I can wind back a bit and just explain that to me it's kind of like we get, you know, born into this world and into some kind of a story, some kind of a lineage, some kind of a family issue, whatever it is. And we are like ego driven from nature when we are younger. And at one point or several points, life will try to say, okay, well, now, my friend, now is time to wake up of that dream and expand out of that ego and into that stream of energy that I hear you talk about. And I just see with myself and so many people I work with that it's kind of like many people have for many years resistance to surrendering to that stream. And I also hear that in your words. It's like, can I trust it? Or, oh, it's so intense. And is it like that? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Or, there's some kind of struggle. For some, it's few years. For some, it's all life long struggle to surrender. But at one point, and I feel that I stepped through that gate, at one point when you surrender deep enough and you kind of like go through death, your ego death, so not just one time, but again and again and again and again. It's like, we have our free will. Everybody talks about that. We have our free will. But when you have surrendered and dedicated yourself so deeply to the divine and to the higher meaning and to her, to to what it is, we can talk more about what it is. But when we have surrendered so deeply within our own heart and our core, and we're like willing to detach from our own will and from everything we could hold on to, it's kind of like life, and that life force energy of creative force, just takes you and elevates everything and expands everything, and life gets so vibrant and so high. The frequencies are just rising, and it's like you feel everything, you hear everything, you see everything. It's kind of like you get the keys to the secrets, but still the only thing that can drive you there is humbleness. You cannot, that's the trap. Many people who are really doing the spiritual work, they are doing it from an ego who wants to go there, but they have not managed to surrender the ego to actually. The only way into that stream of energy is through surrender and through humbleness. That's the only way. And the second that we can the ego can light up again and again and again, like, ooh, now I get it. Ooh, then the energy drops, because you cannot be there from the ego. That's not possible. It's like that balance. Does it make sense how I explain it? Yeah. So to me, it's like I don't even, when I'm really in that stream of energy, I don't have a free will anymore, because I surrendered it to the higher will of creation, of life. It's magnificent, and it's weird, and it's scary for the human, for the ego. It's really scary because we have no control at all. But when we really dare to lean in and let it happen, we at the same time experience flow and expansion and manifestations, and all of that we long for is right there. So it's like, can you hold your ego down enough to be in that stream of energy? And that's like the dance every day, every hour, every minute, and we're just human beings. So the ego will, be triggered, or the shadows coming up, or, okay, one more turn through the spiral, We're not here to become ego-less. It's that dance all the time.
Yeah, I really, really love what you're sharing about the feeling of being taken. I feel that very much, especially when I go down into the deep and to the depths of something. it literally feeling like something taking me on my feet and just pull me down. And it feels like there is no choice because I have already said yes to this. But what I feel when I then go down to this deep place is that I feel this trust within. I feel, okay, I cannot force myself to come out of this place. I cannot just, I cannot just decide like, okay, now I'm going to get out of this place. I will be let out when the process is done, right? When the process is finished. And as soon as I surrender into that trust, say, I might gonna be down here for a day or two, maybe a week, maybe several weeks. But I have tried it so many times now that I really trust that when that process in the depths, and it's very typical in the big grief process, when the process of grief is over, the grip around my feet, it will slowly dissolve, and I will like come up from the ground again in a new way and in a new form, and then the life will show in front of me which way to go. And I cannot take any decisions when I'm down there. And if I try to, I just delay the process, and I just put a like a blockage for the process to unfold in its way. And it really feels like a very feminine surrendering. And it doesn't really matter if it's a woman or a man. It's like to allow yourself to be down there in these depths of life. And but be there with this kind of trust, because you can also be there and clinging to it. And that's when we get going into depressions, and when we're going into, other circumstances where people, they are getting stuck in the mud. Are they kind of getting stuck down there? But it also not have to be running away from it, because then we just will like escalate a kind of a stress and anxiety in our body if we're going to run away from our own depths. So for me, it's so much about trusting her, like, and trusting that feminine quality in myself and that is surrounding me, because I actually feel very held. But I need to surrender into that feeling of held is not, it's not the way that I have learned how it is to feel held, right? So it's a very different way. It's really leaning into, I have myself, but I also trust that there is another intelligence there have me. I'm held down there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I speak about this and I teach about this and I facilitate this, I like to talk in pictures because people understand pictures, and the picture of the birthing process is like, nature and the cyclic nature. It's not linear. Maybe someone who up here in the north where I live, we very much have like the cyclic nature, and we see how nature is facilitating, when it is spring and it gets summer and we have fall, and we really watch the death of nature when we go into the winter time. And that's like Mother Nature. That's the feminine. It's Gaia. Mother Nature is showing us how life force energy moves when it is not forced like into a masculine linear. Because when you look into the, corporate world, people in very masculine energies are like trained to be in summer all the time. We have to be in summer and we have to perform and we have to, stay there, because if we don't, it's us who fail, and it's like at some point you see all those people running that show, they will get taken down by that force, going into sickness or depression or life crisis, because they cannot stay up there. They are bypassing the cyclical nature of life. And when you talk about getting pulled down, and when you are down there, I instantly see this picture of being in the womb, being in the water, you know, and when we work with shamanic breath work, which I'm also a facilitator of, we always work with the elements into the birthing process, and understanding that at some points we are up in the air and we have our wings and we flow and we fly and we are like on top of the world, and we got a hang of why I'm here, but we cannot stay there forever, because then, you know, it's just a turn of the wheel, and then you're like brought into the water, you go through another death and a new cleansing and a rebirth to a new level, and you have to go down there, as I hear you talk about, to that new chapter, to the next level, or how do you want to express it? It's like everything is always like moving in the spiral path. We also see that in nature, you know, the spiral and sacred geometry is everywhere, and the spiral is just showing us that when we are on the high of something and we're like, oh yeah, I'm really good at that, it's like life is saying, well, congratulations, now let it go and surrender into a new level, a new path, you know. And that's actually the most beautiful way for me to look at what is happening in the collective now with society and with humans, and that we are like, we have been running high for hundreds of years of this, you know, masculine wave of energy, and now we reach like the point where the water comes, just like the stories of Atlantis and, you know, all the kingdoms throughout time, Rome who fall, you know, at one point it cannot get any bigger. We took it like to the edge of what we can create with our own force, and then life and the feminine and the mother and the water will say, well, congratulations, here we go again. You know, we get swept off our feet, and we are being taken down into humbleness, into the water element, into the cleansing, and that point, as you just said, when you are down there, you cannot, you know, you cannot decide anything important, or you cannot, you know, set a direction, because that's not meant. When you're down there, you're meant to reflect and integrate and purge everything that you learn that is not for you anymore, and, you know, do your shadow works in the depth of the subconscious. And then, you know, when it gets spring, you can rise, you can rebirth yourself into a new chapter, a new form, a new cycle of experience until next time. You know, and it's forever. So to me, it's like, maybe we talk about how the feminine has been suppressed, and it has, but when you really understand what it is, you also will understand this huge, enormous divine force actually cannot be suppressed. It's so much bigger than us, and when it is time, it will come. Just like when baby is ready to be born, we cannot stop the birth from happening. It is taking over the woman's body, and, you know, the water is breaking, and it is time to go. Here we go. You know, it is life and death, but this is it. It's so beautiful, and it's so simple when you look at it from that place. So when we talk in these times, you know, I do a lot of astrology, and I do a lot of interpretation of what's going on through the cycles of the planets, and you hear so many people in these times talk about, you know, the ending of a era, the ending of a paradigm. You know, we're moving from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius and all of that. But it's so much bigger than that, and it's not happening because we choose that it is now. It is happening because it is time. It's like a birth starting its beginning, and it's not up to us, you know. We just have to surrender to it and go with this huge force of energy that is divine feminine, when you ask me what it is, you know.
Mm. Oh, that's really beautiful. I really love the picture of the baby and the birth and how that can be used in any way. And that
Mhm.
goes as well, like if we just go in a little bit into the birth process, like you cannot force a birth to happen. It will just create chaos if you try to do it. And it feels like a bit the same now. If we try to force ourselves into something new, it just creates chaos. Like it cannot be forced, but it has to be surrendered into. And it will come, right? It will come. And as I shared with you on the phone, I'm living in Portugal, and we just had a huge, massive wildfire where I live outside of my door in the summer. And it was so intense. And I think that I was meant to not be here. So I was actually in Denmark this short period of time while the fire was taking over the place. And I felt her rising inside of me. And I have felt her rising inside of me several times, but this was completely different. It was like, it was the fiery aspect of the feminine that was rising inside of me. And she completely, for a moment, and I remember I was sitting in the car and I was stopped at parking place. I was not driving. And for this moment, she literally took over my body, and there was just all these sounds and words and things that just keep coming out of me. And I just felt that energy of rage.
Mm.
I would say rage, but it was not in an angry way. It was more this sacred rage of like of burning down. And it was so intense to not even experience it inside of myself, but literally experience it outside of my windows. And we came back and everything was just burned down. And how it looks like here is like it's looked like burnt skin. All the mountaintops with all these small pieces of trees, they're still standing. It looks like a burned skin. And it's quite incredible to walk around here. It's both like sadness and clarity and all these emotions. It just comes up just walking in this environment. And then, of course, the flood came afterwards. All the rain came, and because there was no um, what is called like in the soil to hold on to the water anymore because it has been burned away. So the water ran down through the mountains and created a whole flood in the valley. I was such a powerful symbol of like, yes, after the fire, the flood is coming. And can we surrender into that flood also inside of ourselves? Because it's so, again, it's so intense to when these nature extreme experiences is happening on the earth, it's awakened this thing inside of ourselves. It's really awakened that inside of me in a way that I haven't not experienced anymore, in that I haven't not experienced before, because I haven't lived in a place where nature took over in that way. So for me, it was really this elevation, this a new way for me to understand the feminine aspect of nature, like how Mother Nature speak. And because I somehow needed to see it in its extreme in order for me to really feel it and really connect with it. And as well, I guess when we talk about the world and the feminine and the way that the masculine kind of have run the show for so many years, and I see it here in Portugal where we live. It's like, oh my God, what is burning? It's like industry. It's field and mountains of eucalyptus, and this is planted for industry. It's planted from this way of wanting to get money, and we just devastate the nature, and then we just plant eucalyptus so we can make toilet paper. And this is the main area that has been burned. It's just like eucalyptus tree. So it's such a powerful sign from Mother Nature coming and saying, no, I don't want that anymore. I'm just gonna clean the slate, and then you have to have one more another chance to start over, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, the elements, I work very much with the elements, and every single element It's like, we can look at the earth elements, and we can have earthquakes, the water, we can have floods, the fire, we can have wildfires, and the air, we can have, storms or hurricanes, or so every element in its own nature can be very, very destructive and very, very, very powerful. And everything in this reality, this matrix, is about balance. It's all about balance. So whenever and that's what humans do, because if every human being could learn to surrender to the feminine way, it is our instinctive nature to live in balance with the elements, with Mother Earth, with, everything that she gives us. But that's what human beings do. They create, how do you say that? They create chaos because they cannot, they have no clue how to, nurture the balance, how to choose the balance, because they don't get profit out of it, So, and that's why I also said earlier that maybe we can suppress the feminine in the humans, but in a bigger scale, when we see what divine feminine is from the elements, from nature, from our cosmos, we do not have that kind of power to actually suppress it, because it's like Mother Earth and Gaia is like a huge organism in herself, and we all as people are like cells in this huge body, this huge organism, right? And at one point, I often have this picture that she can like shake her body and just, we will fall off like little animals in my dog's fur. It can shake it off. I get this picture that we think we are so powerful, and yes, we can make a lot of destruction and chaos because we are not that conscious about what we do, or some are not, but nature will always have the bigger hand. Nature will always survive. Nature will be here. It's us who are like creating our own distinction, right? It is human beings. And that's what's happening right now, It's like the feminine. And if I should just talk a bit astrology, if you are okay with that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that is one of your main beautiful abilities, to tap into that.
It is. And we have like these years we are in now, but also just these few months of the end of 2025, we have like so much water present in the way that everything moves. We have this huge water triangle in the sky where all the water signs are like connected for a long time, creating this. It's like I feel like I'm very intuitive in the way that I interpreted what's going on. And it feels like a deep portal to the deeper water in us, like the subconscious, like everything that's been hidden or suppressed, or it's just open. The gates are open. It's like water is coming up. Everything that's been suppressed is coming up. Everything that people have been trying to hide in their own shadows. It's just, someone opened the doors. So good luck hiding it. It's like, it's just open, And that's why many people feel that times are so intense, because they're trying to, holding it down, everything they have tried to suppress or deny or ignore or whatever. And it's not possible right now to hold anything down there because it's open. So it's also a bit like, again, the symbolic view of the birth. Whenever a woman is ready to give birth, she opens, physically she opens, and we cannot hold it in anymore. The water breaks. It is time. And that's how I feel, this huge water. So much water, and we have, Neptune is back on the last degree of Pisces for the last time now, and many years. And it's there's so many signs, Saturn is back in Pisces for the last time, and it's like the water is breaking now. That's like the bigger symbol of it. And whenever the water breaks, a birth is coming, and that's very much how I feel, and many other feels, about 2026 into 2027, that we are like going into the messy part of the birth now. And the only way we can, every woman who have tried to give birth and been in labor knows that that's the phase where you have to surrender to the body and to the deeper force that is taking over. Because as you said, if you're trying to force it or take control over it, you just create stagnation or chaos, or you cannot, and many women have not learned to surrender. So we have, so many C-sections now because women are afraid of that phase of surrender to that force in the body. So they want to take control over it and find another way so they don't have to go through that initiation, But it is happening now in the collective. And one thing is that we see what's going on out there with our systems, the old paradigm and the patriarchy, all of that. But if we just let that be what that is, and then take it in under our own skin, what is going on within every human being in the individual, even though many people don't even know it. They're not aware if they don't, listen to people like us or do the spiritual work or whatever. They have no idea. They're just trying to keep up their normal life. But this huge triangle of water is open, like in the microcosmos, in the microcosmos. So it's not just up there. It's within every human body, in the deeper cellular programs. This water is opening up and bringing up everything that we have tried to suppress or deny. Or so it's also like our mothers who are walking in our lineage behind us, who are not even here anymore. It's all of that. If we have to end this paradigm, we are the ones who have to dare and to have the courage to stand there and open ourselves up to feel all of that pain. The women behind us were not supposed to release or heal, or so it's also what we call the witch wound. Many people have heard about the witch wound, but for so many generations, so many women have been killed or burned at the stake or drowned or whatever for speaking their truth, for being in contact with the deeper feminine intuitive wisdom. And now we are entering this phase where we do not get killed or burned or haunted down anymore. So it's like all of that has been laying down there, suppressed. Now it wants to come out, and it is intense. It's like all of our grandmothers behind us in lineages are like, oh, finally, I have something to say too, and I have too, and I have too. It's like all of these women in all these lineages are like rising within our bodies just to finally have a chance to speak it out, And that's also what I heard you said. I have to give it a voice. I have to let it out now, because this is the deeper programming on another level, that it is happening. Even it doesn't matter if we want it or not. It is happening now. It is coming out. It is coming up. It is being purged and cleansed and spoken out. And, so the individual, every person going through that, have to find a way to hold themselves through that without, judging themselves as, okay, now I'm becoming crazy or whatever, all of that. Hold yourself in deep trust through these intense processes, because it is really intense. Purging and cleansing, the water is breaking and it is carrying all of that dirty water out, just like a woman can carry a baby and the water, I don't know how you say that in English, but if the water in there is not as pure, that's all. It has to come out because the baby gets poisoned, and that's what's happening to us now. We are in that dirty water being poisoned, and now the water is breaking, and all of that. Sorry, my language, but all of that shit has to find a way out, and it's intense.
Yeah, wow. I feel goosebumps. So much resonating what you're sharing. And it's the intensity. And
Yeah.
it's exactly what you say, what you're saying, like how to stay in the intensity and let it just all almost like, I don't want to use the words taking over you, because you're still there and you still have to hold yourself through it, but allow it to come through you, like allow it to come through you in whatever way it wants to come through you. And that can be it can look very messy. I was
Yeah.
like, this is what the feminine aspect can be, very messy when it's cleansing out. And it can be purging, and it can be screaming and crying and raging. And it's just, it is messy. And I love the image as well of like kids. Yes, it's like a kid. It's like a kid raging in a tantrum. It's so messy, and it's like kids playing with whatever they're playing with. It can be so messy, and sometimes it feels like being in that process of, well, just allow the mess to
Yeah.
come through you. And really, that it came so much in my mind the other days, where I feel like, wow, I feel the needle have like bursted my balloon inside of me. It literally felt like this. And as soon as I surrendered into that process that I'm actually still in, so it feels really vulnerable because I've been in it for more than a week now. But as soon as I went into that process, there was no shame, no guilt, no judgment, no anything. There was no anger towards anyone. It was simply just energy of grief that just had to come through me. And it is so, sometimes it feels like it came from so deep places, like actually as you're purging something that has been buried down the deepest places of your lineage for thousands of years, just coming out. And to allow ourselves to stay there, I feel the missing link, that we haven't ever been initiated into that process. We have ever been taught how to hold ourselves in processes like that, because it's so intense and it's so, sorry, my language now, fucking scary to be there. If you don't know what it is that is coming through you, you can literally think that now I'm getting insane and something demonic is taking over me. But it's not demonic, and it's not because you're getting insane, but it can feel like that because you've never learned to stay with it. And I think that's also an aspect in many of the spiritual environments, right? When we can actually bypass these processes by doing things that was not meant to, that was not invented for bypassing, but we can somehow use them as a bypass, like meditation, or like ice bath, or yoga, or shaking, or whatever we can use as spiritual embodied practices to bypass our process. And to actually stop that, I find it so interesting. Like, I needed to stop my practices, because right there now, they were not a help for me. They were more like a way for me to bypass the process. Um, and that in itself is an ego death. Like, okay, wow, so many of the things that I have been teaching, I just needed to stop them right now. They are only doing the thing that they're trying to take me out of my process. What more that I wanted to share about that? Yeah, I think it was just acknowledging the part of the water breaking. How,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's I hear all these like when you speak, we have so many like sentences or like phrases like, okay, can you sit with it, or feel it to heal it, or but it is true, we have all these like sentences that is like, oh yeah, but why are they there? Who made them in the first place? Why, often I can like laugh of them and like, oh my god, all these clever little sentences flying around. I feel like maybe it was myself in another life who just said that to remember myself, hey, when it's really tough and it's really messy and you really want to bypass or find a way to escape it, and then we have like every people's addictions. Just right here we talk about why do people have addictions, because it's too intense to feel the messiness of life. So whatever I can run into to escape it, to eat something, smoke something, drink something, take whatever people do, have sex, whatever, we have so many, and us, like you said, practices, even healthy practices can be like that escape of, can you sit with it? Just like the shaman said, and that is the initiation through the death portal, as I call it. It is like that downward spiral taking you into your own dark night of the soul, your own fear, and we have all these fearful thoughts coming up about ourselves. Okay, now I'm losing it. Now it's too much. This cannot be healthy. This cannot be, blah, blah, blah. But that's the initiation into the feminine. The feminine is like a vast, cosmic, expansive darkness of meaninglessness that is like the paradox to the deepest meaning of all. But you have to go into that surrender of everything your ego wants to hold on to and just let yourself dissolve. As when I talk about the elements and the masculine and the feminine, it's also like it's a very like easy way to show the picture of it. Like the masculine is here to give energy a form, like a direction. The feminine is the opposite. It's formlessness. It is, can you dissolve out of your form? Can you can you allow yourself to be in chaos and that chaotic purge of craziness. It's like, it's so vast, it's so huge, it's so, and I have been journeying, it's years ago now, but I have been journeying with plants. Like in my process, plant medicine has been like a very important teacher to me at one point. And what I see now, like in my back mirror, was that what these plants did for me at that time was to go through that deep anxiety in myself, that deep resistance I had to surrender. We are born with this deep instinct to survive, our survival instincts, and they are so deep. So even though we know it with our mind, we know, okay, I have to surrender, I have to learn how to die before I die. We have all these, but when you're really there, it's not a spiritual game anymore. It feels so fucking real. It feels like you're actually dying, and every instinct in you, even though you know that you're not supposed to hang on, your instinct says, hang the fuck on, because now you're dying. It's so real. So how can we find space holders that we are so safe, feel so much trust in, and we feel so safe that we can actually lean in and let go and go through our own scarcity, our own deepest anxiety, our own deepest shadows, our own chattering mind, that this is, where is the balance? How do we find that place? And so many out there in the spiritual communities are doing this work, but with no integrity because they have not been there themselves. So they actually cannot hold space for it. So it's so dangerous. How do you find your true space holders? Because we have like this huge collective spiritual inflated ego who have understood this is the way. So they are like practicing it in a forced way that is not rooted in the deepest integrity of actually been themselves going through the process. But it's
so truth. It's so
yeah,
truth. And what comes inside of me when you're sharing this is also maybe can comfort some of these people that's going through like a really deep process now, as feel this as an initiation, because it is an initiation, right? And we are now here to birth a new world, a new humanity. And I feel almost like the people that have been going through like these initiations again and again and again, and allow them to surrender into, these are the space holder of the new world, because we have to have been there before, right? We have to surrender our ego so much so we're willing to let go of everything, and not only willing to do it, but also dare to do the steps where we actually again and again and again put ourselves out in unknown land, unknown ground, and dare to open ourselves. And that requires so much courage, but I see this as well as a part of the feminine. Feminine aspect to surrender into the death of the old you.
Yes.
In all aspects and all levels, really surrender into that, and then you can walk into the new. And especially for me, like plant medicine, especially the grandmother was as well like a huge teacher for me. And when I was standing there giving birth to my first daughter, I was so happy that I worked with the plant medicine beforehand, because I felt her so deep inside of me saying to me in that moment, all right, Sophia, now you have two choices. You can surrender or you can go into control, but it's your choice. You can choose. And then I was like, the only reason in that moment I feel that I choose to go to surrender, because I have been there with the plants. She have already shown me what it is to surrender to that deep feminine life force energy. So I went into surrender. But I really feel that the reason I could do that was because I had experienced it before. All that's control aspect that also coming up in women when we are going to give birth. They just like hold on to the process, and it's a way that you have to surrender into that birth happening, and have to go through that initiation, and go through initiation after initiation, and keep saying yes, I am dedicated, and I'm going to go through this initiation as well, even though that it's so scary and I don't know what it will bring me on the other side. But I trust the divine, and I trust the meaning, and I trust my path again and again and again. Because what I also see out there somewhere in the spiritual communities is like someone have had an experience at some point in his or her life, and then they start kind of still clinging on to that experience they had, and they teach from that point. But they forget that to be the teacher and the true space holder, you have to go through initiation upon attenuation upon attenuation, and it's continually work. It's not because you had one awakening one time in your life and then you're enlightened and then you can hold space. No. You have to go through the mud again and again and again and again, and be reborn again and again and again, right?
Yes, exactly. It is like the never-ending spiral path, never ending, and so many people also, if it's like, it's also like the ending of the time of the guru, right? It's like if we meet anyone out there who says, "Oh, I have done my shadow work," it's like a big red flag. Oh, you have? You have? Okay, wow. So where are you now? It's like that deep humbleness of understanding that when we surrender to the divine and to the feminine, and I just feel when I say that the divine and the feminine is like in one, is the divine, is the feminine divine? What about the masculine? The divine, just to put that in place, from my perspective, the divine is like the alchemy happening when the divine feminine and divine masculine in their highest health are like dancing like yin and yang. It's like the dark and the light in a perfect balance. That's where divinity, that's what we all actually are looking for. But the feminine is still, it's so interesting to me because I'm guiding these. I have like a group now where I'm facilitating like a Shakti circle for women, and we just yesterday had about like the mother archetype, and the more I've been with her the last few weeks, like the mother, because the feminine in her full spectrum have so many faces, so many goddesses, so many myths, so many. It's from the deepest to the highest, to the purest, to the darkest, to the fierce anger, to the most soft love, and But what I just want to say was like, whenever I'm tuning into that mother archetype, I just see the setup from the when we, the last 2,000 years, and the church and everyone is like pronouncing God as a he, as a him. The creator is like a he. But whenever I'm with this mother energy, it's like, but everything begins with the mother. It's the mother who carries, the new life. It's the mother, and I know that I think it's in Spanish where matrix. The matrix is like a word out of the mother. It's like it's the space we are in, or it's like so whenever I'm tuning into this mother energy, I just feel God. I feel like the creative force of, and the masculine is more like, like the sperm bringing vitality, bringing like the code, so this birthing process can happen. But the mother is like, wow, she is the biggest creator of this reality. It is the feminine, it is Gaia, it is Mother Earth, it is nature, it is, yeah.
Exactly. That image just came exactly to me as well with the sperm. It's like I feel the masculine. It's the initiator. Like,
Yeah,
it's the
exactly.
initiator, and then
It is.
the feminine is the portal
Yes,
of birth.
exactly.
And this is where life comes through, and it's so interesting. So I work a lot with the new children there's on the way, like the incoming souls. And when I work with women, they want to conceive or struggling with conceiving. It's like a really beautiful and big process to get in contact with that becoming the vessel. And it's literally like the journey that I guide women through is becoming the vessel.
Wow.
And there to become the vessel is so linked to the divine feminine, and the Maria and the Magdalena, like becoming that vessel. And the whole journey of doing that is really through devotion, and it's through clearing and cleansing, and it's through surrendering. And this is the three main aspects that we have to go through in order to be initiated into the motherhood, right? We need to go through this aspect. And it feels like it's more important now than ever before. Because these children that is coming now, they're coming with a new frequency. They're coming with a different frequency than the one we were born into. They are our teachers because they're already there. And we are going to birth ourselves, but we have to kind of bring ourselves into that frequency, and they are already coming down with that frequency. So when we tune into these children, there's already there in that frequency. This is an amazing teaching and knowledge and wisdom that they bring. And I don't see it so much as like children in clouds, but it's more like it's a field of consciousness that we can tap into. And especially we as women, and if we want to conceive a child, or if we have a child, or whatever it is, they initiate us into that path, the new path of I will almost say like the new mother, because the mothers, they're gonna be here now. They have to be mothering something new, so they are the new mothers, and they will be initiated in a different way. And it's really, really interesting to see and to witness these women that have been going through fertility treatment. And many of them comes and say, yeah, my body reject the hormones, or my body rejected the sperm or the egg that they wanted to put into my womb again. And instantly it just come through me, yeah, it is rejecting it because it comes in with force.
Exactly.
And this is unnatural.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful tool that we have with fertility treatment, but if it's used in a wrong way, it will just bring in that masculine force that the feminine body will just not allow it. It's as simply as it is. No, I will not allow it.
Yes, I agree. I agree so much. And, I really feel with these women who so deeply wish to become mothers, and they just don't feel their body doing it or allowing it or opening to it. I really feel I understand why they choose to go these ways, to get that dream, to manifest that child into this world. I really get it, but I agree with you that we have been in times where mankind have been able to manipulate so much more with nature, and it's like she is rising now, so humanity will also experience that what worked before, techniques, suddenly, weirdly enough, doesn't work anymore, because she is like, nah, now this era is over, and now we have to surrender to a higher will. So maybe a woman is not meant to set a child into this world, even though she really wants to, and she wants to do everything for it. I have this picture in my mind right now. I think it was like a real Instagram reel just popping up at one time, as so many times before. But it was it was a little video, like under a microscope, like seeing this egg, and then this needle came to inject the sperm into the egg, and it was like a very beautiful, they made it like, look what we can do now, and it's so magical, but when I saw, the egg was round, and when that needle just hit the surface of it, the egg did not open, so it had to pierced through, so the egg was like all bended and not round anymore, and then finally it kind of like broke through, like into the egg, and the text and the music, it was like, oh, look how beautiful it is. But my body intuitively, when I watched it, I was like, no, don't do that to her, or that egg is clearly saying no. What, can you not see that? It was like, why can they not see what they are doing? It was like penetrating into that egg with force, but it was done with like a consciousness of, this is beautiful. And my body intuitively was like, I wanted almost to scream when I saw it. It was like, no, don't. And if people are not tuned in to feeling the feminine within themselves, they cannot see it like that. They cannot feel, why should that be wrong? They have no idea. Because yes, we can force it, but as you say, then the body will reject it. Okay. There is this higher will, there is this deeper nature, intelligence running the show, and we have to surrender to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really also feel that in my heart when you were sharing it. And I think the thing is like a woman, so many times I feel that mother creature inside of a woman that is coming to me, and I really feel
Mm.
the call, and I also really feel the baby that's trying to communicate with you. But something that can be really difficult to say that I very rarely say. Um, but it starts to come to my mind right now. It's like, wow, I would really love to have more couples coming to my sessions
Yeah.
because, and it's tough to say, but if the masculine is the initiator, right? And
Mhm.
the woman is like the vessel, maybe it's the wrong initiator.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
tough to see for a couple that have been together for 5, 10 years and they have tried for years and years and years and years, maybe it's just not fitting,
It's not meant to
it's
be.
not
Yeah.
meant to happen. That child will not come through that channel, right?
Yeah.
And it's so tough to see that realization, or to get that realization, because it's a part of the also the controlled picture of motherhood, right? Oh, I want to be with this man, and we're going to live in this house, and we're going to have such a life together, and it's going to be like this, right? But it's suddenly like it's not going to be like this.
No.
And if you have that really deep, deep, deep call within you of motherhood, and you feel your baby, it means that there is a baby for you, but it's going to look like in a total different way. And can you surrender into that flow? Can you surrender into that devotion and the sacred union with your baby, and allow your baby to guide you into the initiation of motherhood? And that's require such a humbleness and
Yeah.
so much
And
awakening
again,
inside of yourself,
and
right?
and the ego death again, right? The
Yes.
ego death of not trying to control how it will look, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And when you say that, I just have it's just working in my mind, and I just see this bigger picture of what you just spoke into. You can take that and you can reflect it out on everything we do. How do you create a new business? Are you forcing it because you have this idea, or can you surrender? And that's also what I say about my community. It has birthed itself through me. It chose me. I
Mm-hmm.
did not, I had no idea that what was I was going to create. And I'm never ever taking charge. I'm not dreaming about, oh, we can expand like this and do like this. It's I'm just holding space for my community to grow up as the being it is. And when women, I'm sure just as many women as I do, or men, like conscious, beautiful people who really want to create like their own business or like a new product or whatever, but they have no flow. It's the same picture. Okay, do you get pregnant? No. Okay, why not? What is not in alignment here? So we can take that and mirror it into everything. How do we live? How do we do our business? How are we in relationships? How do we put babies into this world? Whatever. Everything is about surrendering to the higher blueprint of what is meant to be.
Mm.
Can you surrender your will to the higher will? And then I promise you, because that's what I experience and see, that when we do, we will have everything we could ever dream of. There is so much abundance, so much love, so much prosperity in this world, and we will be gifted with it when we surrender to a higher will. And everybody wish for that prosperity and that, but they have not yet understood that they cannot force themselves there from the ego. And then we're back again, the spiral is turning.
Mm-hmm.
That's it again, the feminine
Exactly.
way.
And we will keep coming back into that spiral. They will
Yes,
just keep coming
yes,
back into it, and it's like it's so potent. This is just to summarize what we have been talking about, to learn to surrender into that spiral, right? And
yeah,
don't bypass it, don't push it, don't whatever you have an ego urge to do, but learn to surrender into that. And I really feel that especially this year, 2025 have been a year of ending and initiations, ending initiations, ending initiation upon each other, just like this.
Yeah.
Or initiation and then an ending, an initiation and then an ending, right? And to start to see the gifts in both initiation and endings, and to start to really find that gratitude.
Mm.
And I think that's another thing. Like, from many years ago, when I learned about gratitude practice, I thought, oh, the gratitude is for all the good things that I'm experiencing, and I have to focus on them. And then being initiated into the depths is like, oh my God, I need to learn to bring my gratitude here into the darkest places of life, into the darkest places of my being. This is where I need to bring my gratitude in, because this is my initiation. And it's not all that have to go through these dark places. But if you're listening out there, then if you're one of these beings that is being initiated through to the depths, right?
Yeah.
So this is where we need to learn to bring our gratitude in, to really learn to love these places.
Yes.
With our whole heart, right?
Yeah, and I think just, 2026 will be a year where people will be brought into the depth if they have not surrendered to it yet. It's like we have to purge the idea of anxiety. The reason people have so much control and a forced lifestyle, the opposite of what we're talking about, is because of fear. Fear is the root cause to control and to not surrendering. And 2026 will be a year where people in the collective field will be forced to be brought, I should say, not just look at it, but be brought into your fear so you can go through it and dissolve the illusion of it, so it does not have the control over you anymore. And then you can start to surrender to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And we really reached... Yes, and we've reached a point now in this huge collective birth of a new paradigm where, now it will, everybody feels it, but it will only be more intense now, because we have to go through that little eye of the needle, every single one of us. And many people will leave this earth. Many souls will check out and check out of this reality, because they were not meant to go through the needle of the eye. Nobody leaves this planet without a higher willingness from their soul. That's really what I see and feel. Nobody dies accidentally in this world. It is like a contract from a higher place where we are meant to check out. And you have seen so many stories with people who are like having near-death experiences, and some voice are like saying, nope, it's not your time yet, get in again. We don't die if we're not meant to die. So it's also for the rest of us who are here, who are, I lost 3 people this year. My mother's one of them, and women my own age have checked out, just to say it in that way. But it can if I understand that I'm not losing anything, but it was their time, they were not meant to walk through the next needle of the eye with me, it's okay, and I will see them again. They're just checking out of this matrix, out of this box that we're in, out of the game. I'm still in the game. They checked out for as long as I'm here, meant to be here. And at some point, I'm the one checking out. It's like, if we can look at it like that, it's not so scary anymore. It's like, okay.
And also, like, for the persons that is so near to us dying, it's also like, I really deeply feel that they were meant to be here for that time of life, and now they are checking out, but they also checking out to give you the opportunity to grow and to take all these lessons. So it's a very it from like a soul perspective, it's like it's a giving another being a huge gift.
I
And I
agree.
see that very often when I work with women that have been going through a miscarriage, or that have been going through a birth loss, or when they have been like, a stillbirth. And it's really to see, yeah, that soul was here for a short period of time, but that soul also choose to leave to help you elevate
Yes,
and to help you clear out and to help you go through these depths that you're now going through.
I agree.
And this is so powerful to see it in that way, and to actually bring that gratitude into the experience in a way of like, wow, I can only be grateful for me having the opportunity to have this experience so I can elevate.
Exactly.
Right? And it's so powerful. And I think that we have been forbidden to bring gratitude, especially on death, because death was like painted in a way that it has to be something very sad,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very painful and all of that. And it is, but we have forgotten the gratitude into actually what that soul also might give us as a gift right now in the moment of grief, right?
Yes, I agree. And still, to me, it's, it's very clear to me now, and everyone who have followed along, that my father, he passed in the ending of 2018. And that was like my set off into whatever I have created and done. That was my first initiation. And now my mother died this year, and that's like, I completely understand it. And I thank them so much, because the timing of their passing is like the most beautiful synchronicity into my soul journey. That when they took off, each of them, whew, that was like the huge elevation of my own journey and my own inner process, and I see it. I just, I see it. It's not a coincidence. It's not. It's so timed. It's so timed. And I get so many like signs, or it's just that's just how I function. I'm being shown that it's exactly on point. It's like, yes, it's exactly on point. So I agree very much. And it's still, same time, I just want to put in that if we can look at death like we just talk about now, no matter if it is little children or our parents or whoever it is, we can heal the energy of victimization. That's like a very deep shadow in humanity, that we feel like victims for almost anything that happens to us. But if we can elevate and birth ourselves, be initiated into the feminine consciousness of the cycles, and we understand that nothing is a coincidence in this world, we will not be victims anymore of anything. And that's where you can take your power home, That's where you can elevate into a whole new level of being in this world, because you're not a victim of life or anything that happens in your life. Everything is for you. Everything is some kind of a message, or being facilitated, or a gift for your own elevation. Or if you can look at it like that, then you are not a victim anymore of anything, and your vibration will, just by not being a victim of anything anymore, you will elevate very much. You are back like in your own serene power, and you trust that whatever is going on, and this year have been tough for me too, with death and losing and sickness, and but still I can see now that, wow, even though I'm going through so deep cycles of initiation, I can actually hold myself now. And that doesn't mean I'm bypassing it. I feel every feeling and grief and anxiety, all of it, because I'm just a human being. But I can hold myself through it now. I don't have to bypass it. I can, and then it is like a speed elevator. It's like when I can hold myself through those depths, everything is just expanding so fast now, Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Wow, we're going deep here.
Yeah, we're going really deep. Yeah. It's
Feel we
difficult
could
for me
talk
not
the
to do
rest.
so, but yeah. Oh my God, so beautiful, Freya.
Yes.
So, where can people find you
Yes. Where can they find me?
if they're
Out in
interested in more depths?
out in space somewhere. No, as I just mentioned to you before, it's also the next elevation for me that I am being called from a higher place to start to birth myself out of my little safe Danish container. Everything I do is in Danish, and I meet more and more people who are not Danish who are like, "Hey, why don't you share in English? Because I want to hear what you have to say." And I clearly see that's also been a part of my own healing. And, when I started speaking in Danish back in 2019, that was scary for me, very scary. And now I feel like the spiral, even though I speak now to so many people, I have so much support. I know that people respect me. It's still, it is so scary for my human, not my soul, but my human feels it's so scary to step out into the bigger container where so many more people can pick up on me and listen to me. Because if I start, doing what I do in English, the whole world is suddenly open to listen to me. But it is coming, and it will. So if anyone out there is speaking Danish, they can find me in Indre Sandhed, meaning inner truth. So you can just Google. And I know many people who are living outside Denmark, because now we have Google Translate, and if you look at a Danish web page, the browser will make it into English. So I know that a lot of people are actually reading my web page and so on, even though I write it in Danish, but they cannot yet listen to my Danish videos. So if you just know those words, inner truth. I actually bought the domain innertruth.com, I think, a long time ago. So it is coming.
Ready for you.
It is coming. And I think also soon I will birth a new YouTube channel, not just in Danish, but, it's like a new level of myself and my expansion being birthed soon. So that was also beautiful when you asked me if we could do this in English. Like, yeah, I think I need that. That's good.
And we will link to you in the description below.
Yeah.
And I think from me, you are still the main one that I'm listening to if I want an astrology update. And I think the way you do it with combining the shamanic astrology with the Vedic astrology is like it's very special. And I really will only encourage you to go more international with your work.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I don't think I have a choice.
No, just go with that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Freya.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love this depth of our talk. That was really nice.